What's up with all the sauerkraut? And my dear sweet mother, she would just look at me like a cow looks at an oncoming train. And she'd lean right down next to me. Kind of like this. And she said, "It's good for you!" And then she clapped me the wall and sucked her blood line out and forced her to get to the sauerkraut until I was 26.5 years old. That's when I swore that someday I would get out of that basement and travel to a magical, faraway place where the sun's always shining and the air smells like warm root beer and the towels are oh so fluffy. Where the shiners and the lovers play their ukuleles all day long and even on the street will gladly shake off back for a nickel. Well, let me tell you, it wasn't long at all before my dream came true. Because the very next day, a local radio station had this contest to see who could correctly guess the number of molecules in Leonard Nimoy's butt. I was off by 3, but I still won the grand prize. That's right, a first-class one-way ticket to Albuquerque. Before, and I gotta tell you, it was really great. Except that I had to sit between 2 large Albanian women with excruciatingly severe body odor. And the little kid in back of me kept throwing up the whole time. And the flight attendants ran out of Dr. Pepper and salted peanuts. And the in-flight movie was Bite with Pauly Shore. And oh yeah, 3 of the airplane engines burned out. And we went to a tailspin, crashed into a hillside, and the plane exploded in a giant fireball, and everybody died. Except for me. You know what? So I crawled from the twisted burning wreckage. I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 full days, dragging along my big leather suitcase on my garbage bag and my 10-ounce saxophone and my 12-pound roll ball and my lucky autograph all the dark snort. Finally I arrived at the world-famous Albuquerque Holiday Inn, where the bells are oh so fluffy, and you can eat your soup right out of the ashtrays if you wanna. It's okay, they're clean. Well, I checked in them out, and I turned down the AC, and I turned on the Spectrovision, and I measured my neat little chocolate mints on my pillow that I love so very, very much, when suddenly there's a knock on the door. Well, who could that be? Let's say, who is it? No answer. Who is it? There's no answer. Who is it? They're not saying anything. So finally I go over, and I open the door, and just as I suspected, it's some big fat hermaphrodite with a flock of seagulls haircut and only 1 nostril. Oh man, I hate it when I'm right. So anyway, he burst into my room and he grabbed my lucky snorkel. I'm like, hey, you can't have that. That snorkel's been just like a snorkel to me. And he's like, tough. And I'm like, give it. And he's like, make me. And I'm like, okay. So I grabbed his leg and he grabbed my esophagus and I get out of here and he chewed up my house and I took out his appendix and he gave me a polite irritation. You better believe it. Somewhere in the middle of it all, the phone got knocked off the hook. And 20 seconds later, I heard a familiar voice. And you know what it said? I'll tell you what it said. It said, if you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator. If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator. In Albuquerque. Well, to cut a long story short, he got away with my snorkel. But I made a solemn vow right then and there that I would not rest. I would not sleep for an instant until the 1-nostriled man was brought to justice. But first I decided to buy some donuts. So I got in my car and I drove over to the donut shop and I walked on up the guy behind the counter and he said, yeah, what do you want? I said, you got any glazed donuts? He said, no, Rick. said, "Do you got any jelly donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a jelly donuts." I said, "You got any Bavarian cream-filled donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a Bavarian cream-filled donuts." I said, "You got any apple fritters?" He said, "No, I ran apple fritters." I said, "You got any monkey paws?" He said, "No, I ran a monkey paws." I said, "You got any guacamole donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a guacamole donuts." I said, "You got any blueberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a blueberry donuts." I said, "You got any strawberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a strawberry donuts." He said, "You got any raspberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a raspberry donuts." He said, "You got any cranberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a cranberry donuts." I said, "You got any blackberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a blackberry donuts." I said, "You got any gooseberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a gooseberry donuts." I said, "You got any loganberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a loganberry donuts." I said, "You got any halleberry donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a halleberry donuts." I said, "You got any chocolate donuts?" He said, "No, I ran a chocolate donuts." I said, "You got any bear claws?" He said, "Wait a minute, I'll go check." So in that case, what do you have? He says, "All I've got right now is this box of 12 starving, crazed weasels." I said, "Okay, I'll take that." So he hands me the box and I open up the lid and the weasels jump out and they immediately latch on my face and start fighting me all over. Oh, man! They were just going nuts. They were tearing me apart, quite frankly. You know, I think it was just about that time that a little ditty started going around inside my head. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it went, something like this. I ran out to the street, these flesh-eating weasels all over my face.